Hey guys, and welcome back to another Snobby beer review. I'm Max Bang as always, and we've got Hair of the Dog Fred. I've never had a Hair of the Dog beer, but they're a very, well-known, well-respected brewery from Portland, Oregon. And Fred it's created in honor of the historian Fred Eckhardt. This beer's kind of all over the place. It's got Pilsner and rye malt, Belgian candy syrup, and a whole bunch of Northwest hop varieties, according to the bottle. It's 10% alcohol by volume. Hair of the Dog Brewery. Never had them before. Heard great things about this beer. Let's get into it. Alright, so the appearance for Fred. Tons and tons of carbonation in this one. I mean, when I popped the cap, it was, it had a loud hiss, and then when I poured it, I had to pour it pretty darn slowly because it foamed up quite a bit. And then once it was in the glass, you could see just tons of bubble flying up from the bottom of the glass. But it's sort of like a orange, clear, rust-colored, copper color, gorgeous head on it. I mean, soapy, tiny little baby bubbles. This is just a really gorgeous beer. I'm actually pretty impressed about how clear it is, considering it is a bottle-conditioned beer. Alright, so the smell for this one. The Belgian candy sugar comes through, and it kind of has like a candy aroma, sort of like nougat, figs, maybe a little bit of like dark fruits in there. I mean, this is pretty complex. There's sort of like a floral aroma in there, and even like honey. I mean, there's just a lot of sweetness in this going on. There's some slight toffee and maybe even like caramel notes in this too. Alright, the taste for the Fred from Hair of the Dog. Follows the nose pretty closely. I mean, it's got lots of sweetness in this. Very sweet. Candy sugar coming out. That Belgian candy sugar. Caramel, toffee a little bit. That nougat flavor that I was talking about, sort of like that you find in candy bars. Figs, dark fruits. I mean, very close to the nose. There's just a slightest bit of booziness in here, but considering it's 10%, very well hidden. But there's definitely a lot going on in this beer. I mean, the color is sort of misleading because it looks kind of like an easy drinking light beer, which it is pretty easy drinking. But man, it's pretty big in flavor and in mouthfeel and everything. There's some nice honey and floral notes in there. But honestly, the biggest thing is just that that really intense, like, candy-like sweetness. Alright, so the mouthfeel in this one, for as big and as sweet and, 10% alcohol, it's pretty easy drinking. The carbonation is pretty high, but I think it kind of needs to be in a beer like this, and I think that the reason they did it was kind of to cut back on that, really intense body, which it really does. The beer's sort of a sipper, but it's also kind of, easier to drink, and it's not like you're going to spend all night drinking one bottle. Alright, so the score for the Hair of the Dog Fred, brewed in Portland, Oregon. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5 on this one. This is really good. I mean, just big complexity, really big, intense. I mean, it's sort of like a barley wine as far as flavor and, intensity. That wraps it up for the Hair of the Dog Fred. Like I said, my first experience with Hair of the Dog. This is batch number 78, and I believe Hair of the Dog makes a lot of their beers with the intention of making them good candidates for aging. And I think that this is definitely a good candidate for aging. I'm not exactly sure how old this bottle is. I didn't have time to look up the batch number, but This is a beer that I would love to have in my cellar and, you know, break it out in a couple years or something like that. But you guys know what to do. Grab a beer, leave me a comment. I will see you next time. Cheers.